What's going on, everyone, and welcome to episode number 114 of the TXR Podcast, the absolute best place on a Sunday night to grab a cold one, kick back, and relax with the Emerald crew. I am your host, Invader, and I am stoked to get to the end of the year show rolling. Wow, is it already the end of the year? Oh, it's crazy. We just had Christmas and now New Year's. Crazy. However, before I do that, I am going to go to the introductions, starting with our guest. He's a real genuine guy and friend to all kinds of other community networks. He's also a very passionate gamer, former community manager for Warhorse Studios, and currently the PR manager for Fextralife. Please welcome Rick Lagnese. Rick, how you been doing, pal?
Hey, pretty good. Thanks for having me. And dude, that was a pretty solid intro, bro. You even got my last name down. Good for you.
Well, I have a talent for and as I was saying before, belated Merry Christmas. Did you have a good one?
Yeah, thank you. Same to you. I had a great one. My wife has 4 brothers are all out of town, so all coming into town and hanging out with all the family. It's a lot of people to hang out with. So we had an extended Christmas, and it was a good time. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, we'll get onto the show panel. Tim Dog, how you been, bud? Did you have a nice Christmas?
Yeah, I had a good Christmas. Merry Christmas to everyone on the panel. Thank you, Rick, for coming along. You've been a friend of the show for a long time.
Welcome.
And happy we're going to learn about this game and hear about some of your other stuff you did in the past. But thanks for coming along, and I guess Happy New Year to everyone too, since we're going to be going through that in the next couple of days.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Hey, Megatron, how you been, bud? Christmas and birthday. Wow, pretty stuff. You
Wow.
Party animal.
Yeah. I didn't really do too much for my birthday. Just kind of hung out, fam, and Christmas was great. Kids are happy. I'm happy, and ready to get this show going. 2020 is right around the corner. And Rick, I always thought your last name was 5292.
I'm pretty straightforward guy. I don't know if that's pretty boring.
It's easy to pronounce, though.
Yeah. Well, it's Pretty Rick now, so.
Pretty Ricky. I'm gonna remember that for June.
All right.
Pretty Ricky. What a name. All right. Shock Buddy, how's your week been, bud? You been partying it up too?
Yeah, not bad. Collected pretty well on my Switch loot for Christmas. But yeah, just been trying to get into my backlog, but yeah, that's about it.
All right, I can respect that. Yeah, I think I saw you post some of that Switch stuff. Nice haul, dude. And Centurion, good stuff last night on the Shop Podcast, by the way. I really like the show. How you been doing?
Oh, pretty good, man. Just soaking up the time off I got for the holidays, spending some time with the wife. Looking forward to chatting some more games with you guys tonight on TXR. And it's also great to be part of this interview and to meet Rick.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Absolutely. Yeah, Rick, quite the character in the community. Very, very nice guy. Now, just to let everybody know, Jeremy will not be with us as well. South, he seems to have a bit of a bug, so he will not be joining us this evening. But we got a packed show, and I cannot wait to get this started. So, Rick, our viewers would certainly like to get to know you. Now, would you be able to tell us a bit about your background in the industry and your role at Fextralife?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, obviously, as you guys know, it started with Warhorse. For me, I just kind of took a lot of chances and risks, if you will. I stuck my neck out there. I wanted to meet whoever I could in the industry. I went to places where I didn't really always have an official pass, but I always, faked it till you made it kind of thing, So if they're like, "Who are you?" I'd just be like, "I'm Rick," and so I, kind of made more of a reputation just basically with my passion and for gaming. And with Warhorse, I met them actually on Twitter, believe it or not. They just needed someone to help them set up a party at E3 for fans that couldn't make it to E3 or those who went to E3 at an Irish pub. The completely ironic thing is it's the same dang pub that all you guys go to, or whoever goes, to at E3. Tim, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
Casey's Irish Pub.
Yeah, we that's our meetup.
And that's where the industry
it's a good
started.
time.
That's where it all started for me. That's what's crazy. But no, I didn't just fake it till I made it. I tried doing some things where I tried with some other friends to do like some journalist press stuff and have our own website, and I was heading it up. But, it's kind of hard to sometimes get the ball rolling and be consistent. And but when I, met up with Warhorse and again, just when it started on Twitter, I kind of skipped over some things. I mean, we would talk every day on Skype. And so getting to the point is Toby, the PR manager from Warhorse, we hit it off so well. And at this party that I helped set up for them to, show off their game in its early stages, that he asked me if I can move out to Prague with my family. And I'm telling you, if I was single, I'd probably be there to this day.
Oh, wow.
But, I respectfully declined. And it's a hard move when you have 5 kids, and my wife to do that. And they understood that. So a few months later, Toby's like, you know what, I'm going to get you on the team anyway. And you're going to work from home. So that's fine. I can do that, And so with Kingdom Come Deliverance is, for those who don't know, it's open world RPG, story driven. There's over 4 hours of cutscenes. It's based on actual history in the early 15th century. See, I still got it. I still remember, even though it's been a minute. But I loved working for them. I mean, I was with them for 3 years. The game has now sold like over 2 million copies. I don't know the exact numbers now, of course, but just incredible. The studio was amazing. We were all our own boss. We had tasks to do, just get them done. And we worked so great together. The communication was great, even though I was from the U.S. And after 3 years, though, should I now kind of, unless you want me to talk more about Warhorse, of course, I can go into the Fextralife thing. I don't want to take up all the time here.
Yeah, sure. You can get into whatever you'd like.
Sure. Well, again, it was great. I got to tell you guys, I mean, being a fan, going to E3, honestly, is kind of because of people who I know. I told you I didn't necessarily, if you want to be technical, necessarily belong there. But if you know someone who has an extra ticket, just being honest, that's how I went. But after seeing all the games, and then my whole life changed where I would go to E3 to actually present the game with Toby, present a game that I absolutely loved. And you know what? Sure, I didn't know what the heck was going on when I was at E3 except Kingdom Come. I'm there at E3, and I knew more about all the games and what was going on when I was home, But here I am, I present a game to journalists and press and content creators for like 8 to 9 hours straight with Toby. In fact, sometimes he would go into an interview, and I would do it. So I started, like, the first year was like 50-50. Then the next year was like 60-40. Then it was 70-30. Then it was 80-20. And I was doing most of the presentations. And
wow.
And at first Toby was like, oh, these are big guys, so let me do the presentation. Then he just trusted me so much. It didn't matter who came in that room. And, it was wild, and I loved it. So Fextralife, they were really good friends just because, they really liked the game. And Fextralife always focuses on the games they want to play. That's it. If they cover a game, it's a game they're going to play. They're not just going to play a game if they don't like it. They're not going to waste their time. So they focus on role-playing games. And, we hung out with them and stuff. And, later on, they wanted to see if I wanted to work for them. And it took a lot of thought, but, it was an opportunity to be a PR manager when I was a community manager, to do something new and different. And honestly, when you're in the entertainment industry, not just the gaming industry, things move a little quicker. So, sure, Warhorse, they still have stuff they're working on. They just added modding to the community and the tools and stuff. But, even Toby's our PR manager is temporarily working on Iron Harvest. That's what it is. Iron Harvest.
Oh, right. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, great game. And he's promoting the heck out of it, doing a great job. And, I'm with Fextralife now. And, there's a little bit of, slow down a little bit. There were at least 4 different, DLCs and all this stuff. So it was a great time, honestly, to transition. And I miss those guys to death. Warhorse is amazing. But with Fextralife now, and Tim, it's not a game. I don't mean to, disappoint you, but it's, we do. It's interesting because Fextralife came out when Dark Souls first came out. People in Japan were having a really hard time playing the game, and so they decided to make a wiki for Dark Souls, and it just took off. So after the wikis, came a website. After the website came previews, reviews, and all that stuff. And now Fextralife has a YouTube channel that's very successful, and Twitch, where over the last 2 to 3 months straight, we've been top 5 for most total views overall on Twitch, period. And so Fextralife is, I'm on the other side, honestly. In my job, I'm building relationships with developers, publishers, and agencies to, get obviously access to the game, and for us to cover the game as thorough, as we can, because it's not just where we stream it for a couple of days. We are going to, usually make wikis and all sorts of content, and then on YouTube, and playthroughs and Let's Plays, all sorts of stuff. So we do everything, and they couldn't keep up. They needed someone to continue building relations, and I love it because I love working with people. That's what I do.
Awesome. All right, guys, I'm going to ask our guest here, Rick, a question, then I'll open it up. But going back to Warhorse, actually, interestingly enough, they were purchased back in February of this year. They were acquired by Koch Media at Deep Silver,
Yes.
the publisher. Now, do you think they'll have the same freedoms as before? Because they were independent, obviously. I believe Kingdom Come Deliverance was originally a Kickstarter game, and it had quite the passionate fan base. So do you think they'll still have the same freedoms to make the games that they'll want to going forward? I mean, hey, fingers crossed for a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, right?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I'll actually answer that last question. Yes, of course there will be another one. Just because of the passion that we all had for the first game and how well it performed. So Deep Silver, the thing that's great is we already had this relationship with Koch Media and Deep Silver, of course, right? Because they weren't the publisher in the beginning. As you said, we had, we did a Kickstarter and an investor, but what works so well is that we could do and still maintain to do whatever we wanted within reason, of course, right? Which was meaning that we could still stick true to the integrity of the game. There was no way they were going to compromise that. Warhorse Studios would never compromise the integrity of Kingdom Come Deliverance. And that never changed. And that's what's amazing. And then if you think on the broader scale, remember also THQ and what they have, and it's all part of the family, even though this company owns that company, and there's actually 2 THQs, and it's like, I don't even know how to explain it as good as someone else probably could, because like I said, there's different divisions of this and that. But the one thing that's amazing is I met so many more people from Deep Silver, Koch Media, THQ Nordic, and it's amazing the freedom that everybody has. It's absolutely fantastic. So when Kingdom Come 2 comes out, there is no question that it's going to stick to the integrity of the game. There's no issues, and that's what's amazing.
And that's fantastic.
Really good. Yeah, it worked out really well for everybody.
Because not too many developers, I mean, heck, publishers. We were talking in the chat before the show started that Kingdom Come, obviously being a historical based game, it has a lot of intricacies to it. It was set in Bohemia. A lot of people, they wouldn't want to push the historical so much. They would like to open it up more fantasy based. And I was really happy that they stuck with what they did, right? They wouldn't move from their position being historical based. It was really refreshing in my eye.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry. They're not gonna introduce fantasy in Kingdom Come 2. I can at least tell you that. They're going to stick to it. They're going to keep doing what they're doing, and that's just so wonderful. So I told you I love those guys.
Absolutely, yeah. They from what I can tell, they seem like a wonderful developer. Shock, buddy, do you have a question for Rick?
Oh yeah, I wanted to, because actually I noticed because I downloaded Deliverance on, I believe it's on PC Game Pass, unless I recollect my memory's wrong, but pretty sure it is. But do you guys were you seeing a huge like boost when that went into like PC Game Pass, like to the I guess the overall initial sales?
Well, when that had actually happened, I'm trying to think here, but I wasn't with because I've been with Fextralife since April now, and so when that happened, I wasn't with Warhorse, so
Gotcha.
it was a brilliant time to do that. You know, there's a lot that goes into the business of Xbox Game Pass, and it's actually really good. It's a really good philosophy. But
Yeah, because up until that point, I don't think I'd heard of the game, and then I saw it on Game
Are
Pass.
you freaking kidding me, dude?
So.
no, I'm just kidding. No, actually, I'm not kidding. No. No. Oh, now you know it, so that's good.
Has there been an official announcement for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? Did you just kind of break the news here on TXR? 'Cause I'm looking now. I don't see
I know
it.
you don't like that, but you know, actually, when the first in the Kickstarter, we had talked about doing 3 acts, and basically what the first game was is it got so big that it had to kind of merge a couple of the acts together. So everyone knew that we never really did all 3 acts in the game, or like all the full 3. So, you know, it was always kind of out there and obvious that yes, there will be a Kingdom Come 2. I believe me, brother. You know, breaking news. Maybe we'll try and save some in the future, but I'm not with them, so you know.
I got you.
Absolutely, but hey, that'd be nice. I mean, I'll admit I haven't finished it quite yet because there's surprisingly so much game to it, but that it's so worth it, and I'm craving going back for some more. Let's see, who do we got here? Centurion. Would you like to ask him a question?
Sure. Since Shockley already mentioned it earlier, I might as well just roll with it. I like to test the waters because it's a very controversial thing, Game Pass, in the gaming community. Like, what is your opinion on Game Pass and being involved in with the companies that put their games in Game Pass? And what's your personal opinion on how you think it's influencing gaming?
I think it's like one of the best things since sliced bread. I mean, I actually have friends who got into gaming again because of Game Pass, and when we went to actually that the Irish pub, I actually talked to the guys who started it, the little Xbox party we had, and they're very passionate and committed. And when I remember talking to the I'm trying to remember his name. I think Derek, the creative director for Ashen, and how much he was a fan of the Xbox Game Pass and how it actually helps indie developers too. So, I to be honest, I try not to get into the, I don't know what you want to call it, the politics of gaming so much.
Mm-hmm.
But
no, I hear you, man. The console war is getting kind of played out. I agree.
Well, I have all platforms, so I win. You know what I mean?
No, same here. I got all platforms, and I don't even game on my PC. But you would definitely say that Game Pass is one of those services that help open the doors for indie developers to get their products on the console hardware.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's one of those things that if I were to be honest, when I tried PS Now, and I know it's come a long way, but I don't know if it'll ever catch up to Xbox Game Pass. I just don't. I don't know. I mean, what Microsoft's doing is it's fantastic, and I know it's almost kind of obvious at the same time, right? Because everything is like streaming service, kind of like Netflix and all that, Disney Plus, blah blah blah. But yeah, no, it's great. It's great, and I love it because sometimes I'll be honest. Sometimes there's a game I was thinking about buying, all of a sudden it's on Game Pass, and I'm like, woo! I was like, save some of that dough, So it's just it's great. It's great. I
Nice.
got no complaints, man. And the business side, personal side, whatever, it's all good.
Okay. All right, very cool. I love the enthusiasm there, by the way, going woo wee.
Oh yeah, because that was my legit action there, my reaction.
If everybody else will just go woo wee, I get to save money.
Absolutely. Tim Dog, anything you'd like to ask Ricky?
Yeah, sure. I have a question about Fextralife. So, from what you said, it sounds like would it be correct to say that it's like a modern day? You remember we used to get the game guides, and it used to tell you how to get past certain things.
Prima.
Yeah. Would you say that it's equivalent to that? Like, would give you ways to finish games or to get past certain parts? Is that what Fextralife is? And
yeah.
if it is, how many games do you guys currently have supported?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think we have over 150.
Wow.
And we have tons and tons of wikis. Now, that is one of the bigger ways how Fextralife is known because of that. So, what was great? We went to Cyberpunk press conference, both the presentation, both that
Right.
E3 and Gamescom, right? And the guy that does the presentation, he gave us a shout out, actually, even during his presentation, saying, "I love your guys' wikis," which we like that because obviously we want to be buddy buddies and we want to we already have a wiki started for Cyberpunk. But the biggest thing now that we've done is like we're not just have a website or wikis now. We've actually have a very heavy influence now on Twitch and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But Twitch is like honestly, it's really still so massive and huge. Is Twitch, and you guys see all the stuff that's going on, and quite frankly, I mean, Fextralife, these guys are full time. They love what they do, but they these guys, like the director and the owner, I mean, you're talking, I mean, hours on hours. They live for it, so it's a very big thing, and it's to a point where when you see a game that comes out, like especially from Software, Souls game, I'm telling you guys, if you ever play a Souls game and you've Googled something like, what does this item do? Or this freaking boss, I know it's cheap.
Right.
I'm gonna figure out how to beat it because I can't take it anymore. I guarantee you've been to Fextralife without even knowing it. Because our company is number one in the world for From Software games.
Right. Now, is there a way, or is there a way to sign up for Fextralife? Is there a membership? Is there some type of thing that, like, how do you guys make money? And is there some type of thing that people can sign up for or subscribe to that you can tell us about?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you can be a VIP. And when you're a VIP on the website, you don't have to obviously deal with ads, and there's all sorts of privileges in the forums and badges and all that stuff. And on Twitch, if you sub on Twitch, you get all the exclusive emotes. And now we have 60 of them or something. I mean, a ton of them. I don't know how many actually. It's something like that. And but then you also get to be in our Discord, and anybody can be in our Discord. But I mean, if you're going to be in like the subscribers part of the Discord. And what's really cool when you're in the subscribers part is if if you guys have followed anyone who follows Fextralife, that we have been giving away games since October, and I'm talking like hundreds and hundreds of copies of games, because I've been talking to developers and publishers, and here's what happens is, if some people have forgotten if they won, they forget you have to reply within 48 hours because we don't hold on to these codes forever. And if someone doesn't reply in 48 hours, sometimes the extra or overflow goes to our subs. We try to give them the heads up on some things that we're doing. So yeah, you get in the inner circle if you will. And there's a lot of perks. So, you can follow us, or same thing on YouTube. So there's all sorts of perks with following Fextralife. It's a mess. I mean, there's about 6 million users, Tim, that go to our website every month.
So between Fextralife and Game Pass, I can save me a ton of money. So I need to sign up for this. Sign up for this right away.
Get a ton of gamer score too.
There we go. Yeah, I
Right.
see you guys have Kingdom Hearts 3, which I need to start. I'm looking at it right here. I
Mhm.
need to get into
Now,
that.
as far as you're concerned with your personal journey, like you said, you really started from, just an everyday fan, like everyone on this podcast, pretty much.
Yes.
And you got a couple of breaks. What do you think this is going to be a long-term thing, or where do you find yourself? And or where do you want to take this, like, for yourself personally,
Yeah.
or is this something that you want to do for a while and then maybe get back into the community part for another game, since you did such a good job with Kingdom Come Deliverance?
Yeah. Well, thanks for saying that at the end too, by the way. But the truth is because Fextralife, what they do, and the blood, sweat, and tears, if you will, quote unquote, that they put into it, I could easily see myself doing this in even bigger capacity, and that will most likely come even down the road, because they're getting so big that we need a little help too, to be honest with you. So yeah, and another thing, Tim, is that what I love doing is being a free man. They give me tasks, and I get them done when I get them done. I mean, like,
Right.
as long as I get them done, and they don't micromanage me whatsoever. And what that does for me is my thing in life is always being as free as possible. So my family, comes first, and I'm able to do all the
Right.
stuff with my family, man. And that means everything to me. And Warhorse treated me the same way. So with Fextralife, yeah, sure. Doing that on even a bigger scale. I mean, it's a pretty big scale now, but even doing it in a bigger way, absolutely. I could see myself doing this, till graybeard becomes gray head, gray face. You know what I'm saying?
So you
So,
want to be within the industry, within some capacity, and even maybe within Fextralife, even for a long time. This is your journey, and this is where you're pretty much taking it. You love the industry, and I just think that that's just commendable, because, myself even, and people on this podcast, I just remember, not that I'm in the industry, but I just remember the first time I went to E3, and it's crazy how we all build these relationships, and we do a lot of things, and it's just crazy that, like, one of us, yourself, actually got lucky, and is doing something that you love, and that's a great thing. It's just great to see you grow too. Like I said, I remember when we were at E3 the first time, and you were doing those presentations, and I remember how tired you were, because you were like the second day, and you were literally hunched over a chair, and you're like, I got like 5 hours of presentations to go, and I just remember that about you. But you're a hard worker, and it's just great to see that, like, just one of us, a fan, has made itself into the industry, and it also gives us all hope.
well, I'll be honest, man. I mean, there's no two ways about it. When I went to my 33, that was when I went to meet Warhorse, and my wife Sarah was due 2 days after I got back. So no one in the right mind would go being in that situation, but I wasn't in my right mind. So meaning that I knew in my gut, I knew that, we'll even put it this way, I really felt that this is what God had for me, that I'm going to go and I'm going to leave the results up to him, because I know my wife, she always goes early, by the way. She usually goes a week or two early, and having our, because that was she was due with our fifth child, so we had four at the time. And I just took a chance. I just went all in, and really hit it off with those guys. And when I got back, I'm just going to skip. Long story short, I literally ended up delivering our fifth child. It was the day I got back.
Wow.
24
So you
hours
did
is
it
when I got.
all. You
Did
got
it
into
all,
the
brother.
industry, and then you delivered your fifth child. Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's a
Literally,
great story.
it's a long story short, man. But and I'm still a fan. So I'm always humbled and I'm still just one of the guys, if you will, So when I'm in the industry, I also learned a couple things too that, I try and treat everyone the same. So it's like, sometimes you see some of the politics in the industry and it's like, you know what? I don't care about any of that nonsense because, the way I see it is, I look at someone who's working in the industry and as far as I'm concerned, I have a lot that I can relate to somebody just on that. Just don't get me caught up in all that political crap because, and I'm not talking about console wars. I'm talking about all the other nonsense.
Right.
That goes on. And what's great is it's not as bad as you think. There's people like to make a big deal on social media, but then when you talk face to face, it's not that bad. You know what I'm saying?
I remember with Kingdom Come Deliverance that the you guys had ran into some type of I don't know what it was. Something wasn't. They said you weren't depicting something right, or there wasn't a representation or something. And I don't remember what the cause was. I'm sure that you do, but I remember you're the creative director, and it was like, what the hell? I'm just doing history here, and I don't know if it was enough. I don't know what it meant, but I remember there was some type of political bullshit that was going on with the game. Do you remember that?
I remember everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that too. Yeah.
Well,
I remember exactly.
You know what? There's misunderstandings. Anybody can do a Google search and come up with an assumption about history within seconds. Whereas Warhorse actually hired a full-time historian, Johanna. I always pronounce her name wrong, but she was very rigid, and even sometimes Dan and her had some discussions at length just about the history because they wanted it to be as accurate as they could, but at the same time, we don't call it a history game. It's just a historically accurate game where we try and make it as accurate as possible, yet at the same time it's still a video game. And no matter what it is about history, you'll always find someone who has an issue. And, that's when you have to go with your heart. When you don't have any ill intentions. When you're not even trying to purposely offend anybody. I mean, I know how people get offended over saying anything these days, but that wasn't it. It was just, they made the history based on, even where they live. So it's not something that we were going to stop making just because we knew that we had good intentions. You know what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to.
I'm offended, Rick.
Right.
Good. Well, then I don't care.
Rick's mad because the Giants lost again. Me and him.
Oh my gosh! No more
fans,
Giants.
And, he's a little testy today, like me.
Yeah, well, you know how it is, man. It's like the last few minutes of the game, and they just fall apart. And it's like, you know what, Pat, bro?
Yeah.
You're not a New York guy. Get out of here, Pat.
I know.
I
think he's. I'm not going to go talk about it for a lot, but he's gone, and so is the GM. They both deserve to go. They have to. Yeah. They're just like you said. There's how many games that they've done this? It's been the fourth quarter comes and they lose by 20. It's like ridiculous.
That's on the coach. Sorry,
guys. Too funny, guys. Now I'm interested. What have you been playing recently, Rick? Obviously, with Fextralife, I would assume lots of RPGs because Fextralife, I mean, it seems to feature mostly RPGs from the sounds of it.
This is true. So that's, one of the things I like is now they do a variety of RPGs, but some of our better ones are ARPGs, and that's what I love the most is ARPGs. So when you're talking, any Souls game or Souls-like game, we're pretty much covering it for the most part. And but just so you know, I'll give you a little disclaimer. I don't play these games. I try not to play these games when my kids are up. Sometimes I would play a little bit of this. And my wife's like, really? And I'm like, well, it's work, and but she homeschools too. So I really have to watch. Sometimes I might play it on the PC, but I pretty much wait for all my kids to go to bed. And then when my wife goes to bed, and then I'm like barely up. But what I have been able to accomplish this year is I did play all the way through Code Vein. And Code Vein is one of my sleeper hits of the year because it is very Souls-like, but it's also unique to itself. And it's very challenging if you don't play co-op. And, some of the best boss battles I've encountered. So I went through that whole game. And I went through a couple of indie games. I played a couple of games that I should have finished in 2018 that I finished in 2019. Like I love Ghost Recon. Anything Ghost Recon, I'm all in. And I'm currently trying to finish God of War. I'm so far behind, guys. I have Fallen Order. I still got to go through Sekiro. Like I got Uncharted 4. I got to finish Gears of War 5 with one of my buddies. Like,
Outer World, have you played?
Outer World is on the backlog. I went through Remnant from the Ashes.
So
that was a game we covered, but
You said Gears 4 or Gears 5?
Game?
How
was Remnant of the Ashes? Now that's a game that's in Game Pass. So
Remnant,
I heard a lot of good things about it.
So it's like a Souls game, but it's a shooter, and it's absolutely fantastic because the multiplayer is great. You can play with up to 3 people. And some of the monsters in there, like the again boss battles and the loot, the upgrades, everything. Oh, and Tim,
he'll be back.
Yeah. But Remnant was our multiplayer game of the year. So if you have not played it, guys, and you like shooters or you even like Gears of War, whatever, not that it's just all like Gears of War because it's not a cover game, but you do roll and run and dodge and whatever. It's incredible. Very underrated.
Oh yeah. You know what? I've been meaning to check out that game too. And if I'm not mistaken, too, the studio just got bought by THQ. If I remember. Yeah.
Yep. They bought Gunfire Games.
Yeah, that's right. Because they were also working on, if I'm not mistaken, Darksiders 3. So.
Yes.
So that's good for them. Good for them. Now I have to ask, Rick. You guys are covering all kinds of different RPGs, like we were talking about before. Is there any RPG coming out, like any of the new ones? I see you guys covering New World, Elden Ring, and a few others. Is there any being talked about amongst you guys at Fextralife that anybody's really excited about?
You already mentioned the big ones, like Elden Ring is, of course, that's going to be one of our bread and butters. We absolutely love anything Souls-like, of course. I actually have I have a whole list of some of these games. I mean, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Dark Alliance, D&D, of course, Gears of War Tactics, that's one we're going to probably want to get into. New World, Amazon's game. And that's not to mention even, Neo 2, that we cover Neo 1 extensively. I mean, very extensive. So, yeah, Neo 2 is huge for us. Cyberpunk, of course. Last of Us Part 2. And then, my goodness, man, dude, E3 rolls, and we're, like I told you, we're not going to know what to do. I mean, we're gonna be so busy. Like these last couple weeks, and maybe even early January has kind of been nice because we have like a mini kind of little break, but we're still busy all the time. But yeah, man, those are just some of the games. I mean, I'm sure I'm missing a few others, but I'll say those are some of them. And then ESO, we've covered a ton of ESO. We're on their stream team and all that jazz. And ESO, when Skyrim rolls out, we'll be into that. So
Centurion here is playing it religiously.
I just checked my log today. I'm at 905 hours, and I'm still not even as far through the game as I should be.
Dang.
What kind of magic level? What levels are you at with 900 hours?
I am a level 563, and cap is 810.
Jesus.
Crazy.
And I actually I know I've kind of quested with a few 810s, and though that's diehard right there, is to be full 810.
Wow, but how many hours would an 810 be? Holy moly.
Now here's the thing. I also was checking my stuff today because I was kind of checking my stats, and Shansu, the moderator for the Shop Podcast.
Yep.
When I was looking at my stats, it was like, oh, you've collected 246 sky shards. I'm like, okay, and it's like that's number 5, and I'm like, who's number 1? And I checked Shansu, and he's got over 2,600 sky shards. That I'm kind of curious on what his level in the game is.
Oh, no doubt. I haven't played ESO, but man, I know you're addicted.
I like the fact that it's, I don't know, like this is the first MMO I've ever got into, and I like the fact that it changes with the times. Like during Halloween, you got the Witches Festival. Then you have the New Age Festival right now, which is bringing in New Year's and the holidays. They always have some kind of an event going on. They always bring out new expansions, new dungeons. It's just really awesome to have a game that's constantly changing and evolving. And it's something you could put down, go play a couple other games and come back. And there's new stuff to just discover coming back.
All right. Very interesting. Shock Buddy, anything else you'd like to ask Rick?
I put him to sleep talking about ESO.
Probably. Probably more or less.
Wow.
Shock?
I have a question.
Right.
So I'll take Shock's position since he's fell asleep. What was your take on? Because you are an Xbox fan. I think that you love all the consoles, but you kind of, I would say that you kind of like Xbox. Well, that's like the way you play the most.
Yes.
What do you think of their last month, and particularly the decision to show off Scarlet the way they did, XO 19 and then Scarlet, and what do you think of the Hellblade 2? The trailer. What was like? Take us in your mindset when that whole thing happened.
Yeah. So, first off, when Jeff's talking about leaks and all this stuff that's happened, but here's he's basically saying here's one that hasn't been leaked yet, and I'm like, what is going on? And then I see that, and I definitely would not have expected them to do that at the Game Awards. But here's the thing: what Jeff Keighley is so brilliant about doing, and he's a smart guy, he's a very passionate and dedicated guy. And, all these streamers he got to host the Game Awards. So there was millions of more people watching it, I believe. I don't know if I'm exaggerating, but the numbers were astronomical.
More than XO.
Yeah, so here's the thing. It was brilliant for Phil to do that. Because he knew. He knew that, obviously, the potential. So that's my opinion, obviously. But, when I saw the Hellblade, I'm like, what is this woman trying to pronounce a curse over me? Like what the hell? Like my kids come down the stairs because they're wondering what's so loud, like the volume, because I turned it way up when I started seeing all this, and it looks great, but I'm like, what the heck is she doing? So honestly, that
looks
like
crazy.
Kids, don't come in here. It just got real.
Well, it's like, to me, what happened is I'll be honest with you, that was so weird to me and odd. It was like so spiritual that like what they're doing that I almost lost the feel of the Xbox. Like I was like, in my opinion, I'm like, that was not the right thing to show when you're putting her face in front. Like I don't want to see you. I want to. I appreciate the graphics. Don't get me wrong, but I'd like to see more. And it was so weird, dude. One guy on Twitter was like, man, I just voted that to be my favorite thing of the show, so I wouldn't get a curse put upon me, So, that was a little out there, man, but it was impressive. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think the actress that they mocap, she did look like she was possessed or something. I think that's what I've noticed. I noticed that like when I was looking at the graphics and details, like her eyes, and specifically like if you watch video games, a lot of times they can't get the mouth right. Like it seems to have like it seems to like doesn't look realistic. But when I saw that and I was looking at that, I was like, wow, they really nailed it. But yeah, it was
True.
pretty freaky. But I was freaked out. Like I was
It
like,
creeped
what
me
did
out
they
for
do?
sure.
But I was just like, I couldn't believe that they did that. I couldn't believe that they did that the way they did it. Like, not in a million years did I think they would do that at the game show. But like Rick was saying, I think that was all Phil. I think Phil was like, let's go for the gusto, because from what I heard originally, was that they were going to show Hellblade at XO, and they said, and then they were always gonna show X or Series X at the thing, but I think that they were right in showing that game, even though it was creepy, because it showed power and definitely showed off the power, but they were originally going to show that for XO, so that was pretty interesting, I thought too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Megatron, you got something you'd like to ask?
Yeah, I do. I kind of want to go back to your beginning days of gaming. I'm not sure. I know you've been on, several podcasts before, but what was your first gaming experience? Was it PC? Was it console? Bring us back.
Dude,
to
I'm old, bro.
maybe. I mean, because we had a question last week too about even the holiday like gaming Christmas experience. Like,
Yeah.
what was that like for you? Maybe, possibly, you want to share with everyone?
Yeah. So we got to go way back, man.
Let's go, man. Hey, I've been gaming since
I'm with
I
you,
was
man.
I was what, 4 years old, and I'm 43. So
Yeah, you got a few years on me. You are old. Shoot. So I go back to Christmas with my grandparents, and my grandpa always had to give us the biggest and best gifts out of everybody. There was no doubt. And we're in the basement, and we're opening up all these gifts, and all of a sudden there's one more, and it was the Atari, was it 8600 or something?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man, and I was done. It was game over. I mean, game on, I guess you could say, right? Because I was playing the Donkey Kong Mario game. I was playing this pie game where you're like throwing pies, like I was playing pole position, which like I'm telling you, I don't really play racing games besides like Mario Kart, but pole position, I could not get enough of that game. There was a ninja game, a baseball. So, dude, yeah, it started with the Atari for me, and then it went to Nintendo. I would go over my cousins, and we'd be playing Sega Genesis, and console wars started all the way back then for us because we're like Nintendo, they're like Sega. I'm like, you know what? You come over our house, we play Nintendo. We go to your house, we play Sega. Let's leave it at that. And and then for me, I could not believe like when I first played Rainbow Six on my PC, or when I played Resident Evil, the first one on PC. And yeah, man. So I've ever since I don't even know, maybe like you said, well, you're probably a little younger than me. You said 4. I was probably like 6 or 7. I don't know. It was young.
I mean, I remember my dad taking me to the arcades, and I'm playing the pinballs and the Pac-Mans. Anything that I could put my quarter in, it would last as long as it could. But those are the days.
Those are the best. Those were the best when we went to the arcade. My father used to. We used to. My mother and father were divorced, so he would usually we would spend the weekends with him, and we were sometimes just trying to pass time. But one of the things that we used to do was go to the arcades, and that was pretty much what got me into it. I remember getting the Atari 2600, and it's been a lifetime thing for me. I love video games from that day, or from just the technology. I remember, begging my mom for My Hero, a game for Sega Genesis, which was like, at the time I thought it was the most amazing thing, and now I look at it and I'm like, what a piece of shit this game is. Like it's just so crazy how, as gamers, we've evolved, and like how things, like, in a way, sometimes I think that we've regressed in some areas, because I think sometimes we're too critical. Because back in the day, I'm sure that you can remember when you got to slow down, like in a game, or you had drop frames. It was kind of funny. It was
like Contra. Remember Contra? How you would jump around? But I thought that was something. I didn't realize that was just, it was slow down because it was like CPU. I thought it was just staged because it was just like the action was kicking in. It was like that slow motion thing that you.
You didn't care.
No, I loved it. Sometimes I think as older gamers, we do have to just let people know we have to just stop and smell the roses because, you look at where we were with Contra, and then look at Hellblade 2. I mean, it's just it's a gorgeous thing, and to know that history. And like I said, same thing with you, Tim. I had that. My mom and dad were divorced at an early age, so my dad had us over the weekends too. So it was the arcades. And we had the movie theaters, so we would do the two things.
Yeah.
We would go to the movies.
We're like brothers from another mother.
There you go, bro.
But the movies and then the arcades. I remember you would get like $10 worth of quarters, and it was the best thing. It was like,
oh yeah,
it lasted 2-3 hours, man.
I had a twin brother. I have an evil twin, so maybe 3 hours for you, but it was maybe an hour and a half because we did fight over that last quarter, man. So. It was a good time back then. It was a good time.
I used to have a brother too. That was the same deal.
Okay. Yeah, it was a good time, man.
It was funny. We used to play, and then I remember. What happened was that I started getting older, and my dad was like, "What do you still want to go to these arcades?" And I'm like, "Now I'm a little bit older," and he was more of a I've always played sports and stuff like that. But he didn't like the technology. He did it because it was time to pass. But just video games in general, he used to get annoyed. Like if I played video games, at the house or whatever, he would be like, "Get out, go play with your friends or whatever." He wasn't into that.
Definitely good times.
Yes, indeed.
Dang, look at you guys with your going way, way back. But hey, Shock, is your mic working?
Yeah, I think so. If you can hear me.
Yeah,
we hear you.
Fantastic.
I guess when I use Safari to do the podcast, it just never works out.
Oh. All right.
But yeah, I'm probably looking forward to definitely using the site whenever Nintendo gets around to releasing that Metroid Prime 4. I'm sure I'll be hitting that up to find all the expansions or all the little add-ons that you have to try to find. Those Metroidvania games.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you mentioned that too because they're probably gonna have the Metroid Prime trilogy out first, I would imagine, before Metroid Prime 4. But it's gonna be a while, unfortunately. They haven't said anything. It's so frustrating. I've been waiting and waiting.
I think they restarted production last year or something like that.
Yeah, well, thankfully, Retro Studios is taking the helm of that sucker, but it's gonna be a while. Centurion, you got anything you'd like to ask?
Yeah, we'll since we're all going down memory lane here and we're picking Rick's brain, RPGs have always been kind of like my bread and butter in gaming. I've played all sorts of games growing up, but for some reason I just gravitated towards RPGs because they make you think. The idea of being able to go through a game in multiple different ways sometimes. What I'm getting at is, have you always been in RPGs, or is this a love you picked up fairly recently and got into Fextralife, or what really is your preferred kind of game?
Yeah, it's a great question. So my preferred kind of game is probably action adventure. But that's how it was for a very long time. And then Dark Souls came along. And what was real funny is I remember first day playing that, I was playing that at my mother-in-law's because all my brother-in-laws, man, just being honest, big time nerds. So, I had appreciation for a little bit of nerd in my life, because back in the day, man, you got to understand old school, it was not like these RPGs, man. It was like these really simple games. And like what was a real big deal when I was playing Street Fighter, and there was none of these stupid 20-hit combo crap now, to me, I couldn't take it when these combos, I was like 6-hit, fine. When you do more than 6-hit combo, I'm out. And, but then these RPGs started coming in. I'll be honest, I'm like, they're too smart for me. But Dark Souls merged that for me, the action role-playing genre. And I remember being over my mother-in-law's, and it was real funny because she just got a new TV and it was on the low lit or whatever. So it was hard to see anything in the game. And I thought that's the way they made it, which I actually loved it that way. And then you face a boss almost in the beginning of the freaking game. And I was sold, because the main thing now, still best all time for me is going to be Zelda, because that's
nice.
Yeah, that was the benchmark. And they helped with all these games, all the From Software games.
Still is,
Dark Side game. You know how many, like all the big boss games, I mean, sure, I know Mario or whatever, but Zelda was one of the most influential games of all time and always will be. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah, agreed with that.
Dude, you said Zelda. I got every damn Triforce in Zelda and didn't know what to do next. Like, I could have used you guys back then. I to this day, that bothers me. I mean, that goes way, way back. But I had no idea where to take the Triforces. You know, like we didn't have the money to get the magazines, to look at the little codes or read the little, each one of these gamer magazines had like different, sections that would help you with the game. And I would try to go with my mom to the store just to go into the magazine section to try to find that. And I just did not know. I mean, I know now, obviously, but it's just a game that I'd never got to finish because the information wasn't out there at the time. So we didn't have social media back then.
Right.
Yeah. Is there an app for the thing that you're working on now? Is there an app, or are you guys in the process of possibly building an app, like where we can get it on the iOS and probably get all the information from there? Or have you heard? Or currently no.
Currently no, and it's actually not even necessarily a bad idea. But right now, Fextralife isn't like some massive studio. There are people that kind of work around the world, so it's like kind of running around the clock. Being that I'm in upstate New York, and they're all the way. I mean, it's all over the world, which is great. But the thing is no. The short, simple answer is no. But I wouldn't even be surprised if it becomes a possibility. But right now, if you type in Fextralife, you'll find the website, YouTube, and Twitch. So not an app right now, but it's not a bad idea.
And what is the website exactly for the listeners?
So the Fextralife, if you just type in Fextralife.com, then you'll see, on the front, you'll see it. Actually, the past week or so, it's been a little slow just because of the holidays. But normally we have articles, a few every single day. And if not that, it's YouTube videos that we put our YouTube videos up there, our wiki, all sorts. You'll see all sorts of stuff. If you go to the website, you'll find links to everything. So Fextralife.com, great place to start.
Cool.
All right. Very cool. Definitely check that out, guys. Highly recommended. Lots of good wikis, guides, and whatnot.
Yes.
Let's see here. Now, I was curious because obviously TXR, it's an Xbox-centric podcast, and Xbox has been buying up, I guess, what you would call more RPG-centric studios. You got Obsidian, obviously In Exile, and obviously you guys have been covering RPGs like crazy, whether that be The Outer Worlds. There's a few other games, Pillars of Eternity.
Yes, of course.
Of course. Do you like where Microsoft is going right now with their studio acquisitions? And is there is there anything that you would like them to highlight going forward, like address in their catalog, would you say?
Well, on the personal side, I absolutely love it. Just because, like Tim said, I do. Xbox is my primary console. It just is. I like the way they have Xbox Live. That's just incredible. And so whenever I see them acquire a studio, I'll be honest, there's another part of me that's like, yes, exclusive free games. Come to me. No more $60.
Yes.
You're just saying Game Pass.
Game Pass, yeah.
The world. So I love it. I love knowing that, Hellblade. I'm going to put a curse on her, by the way. That's my goal when that game comes out. Just kidding. I forgot her name. You're awesome, but no. Anyway, I love it. On a business side, and personal because I just love it anyway. But we love the more of the RPG games. I mean, come on, that just gives us more games to cover. So it's like, let's go. I mean, with these new consoles, with all the stuff you're gonna be able to do, there's gonna be no sleeping hour. I mean, it's gonna be insane. We're gonna be able to make wikis for so many games, man. I mean, and cover games extensively. So yeah, we say bring it on. Obsidian. What else? What was In Exile? So
In Exile, yeah.
That Wasteland 3 looks awesome.
which
I
we're
like that.
That's another one we're really excited about. So yeah, we're all in, man.
And even though it's not a studio first party, but I'm sure that you're excited about the news that Moon Studio is now, in addition to doing Ori 2, they're doing a ARPG, which I can only imagine what the hell they're going to do. They're a great studio that's not under the they are part of Xbox Game Studios, but they're not owned. They're independent.
Wait, I heard about Ori, the second one, but you're talking. They're
making an ARPG. Yeah, they announced that they are working on another game. Whether it's multi-platform, I don't know, but possibly could. But it's going to be an ARPG. They want to get into that. So I thought that was interesting. So,
love it. That's great.
Definitely.
I have a question. If I could, Invader. I know that you've been pushing this, and you said to me on Twitter, you've been talking about White Owl, a Japanese studio possibly being in the hunt. What do you think of Xbox's idea of for Game Pass Studios being a global brand, meaning that they have studios from all around the world? And Phil said that he likes the idea of having, certain regions and everything represented. What do you think of that idea? And do you think that more studios are going to come, or do you think that they're pretty much done?
So what I love about this is you have, let's be real here. There are some companies, for example, in Asia that have a harder time getting over into the American market, right? So just because of the different type of games. We've actually talked to a couple of these studios that we even try to help promote their games over onto the US side, because now some of them are trying to not just make PC, they want to go on more of the console side, and they want to make maybe some more ARPGs, like, for example, side games. It's actually a PlayStation game, but anyways, the point is that when you go to all these different regions and all over the world, you're going to get much more of a variety. So that's a great thing, right? I mean, you're going to get all sorts of stuff. And so what that means is it's just more games. And that's always been Phil's thing, is more games. So let's go.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You can always appreciate the different cultures and new ideas that we haven't thought of yet, those new experiences that everyone's been always, just waiting for. The next Gears, the next God of War, who's going to come up with that next big thing, and it can be from anywhere. So the more the merrier.
Absolutely. It's exciting.
Got that right. Let's see here. Shock, anything else you'd like to ask Rick?
Yeah, because I couldn't hear Megatron earlier, so I think I was going to ask something similar. But was there maybe what was your favorite arcade as a kid, growing up?
Arcade game
machine. Which one your favorite arcade you spent the most time at, as far as
I got a story for you guys. Now, first I'll answer that and say to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4-player multiplayer.
Yes.
Nice.
Let me tell you something, man. So we used to go to Chuck E. Cheese when it was actually good. I don't know if it's good where you guys are at. I don't even know if you guys have heard
animatronics.
I remember growing up as a kid, Chuck E. Cheese was the place to go.
It's horrible. I'm sorry, but it's bad. Yeah, but it was so good back then, man. That's where you went. That's where everyone went for their birthday party. And so my grandpa, man. Again, my grandpa, he was a baller. So he gave us $50 each in coins, and I did the dumbest thing. All my cousins and my brother, they're all going playing all these games, and I actually think I was real cool. So I put $50 of coins in that stupid game. So that's all I did the whole time, and they're all like, Rick, we're having a great time. This ride, that ride. And I'm playing this game now. As much as I love it,
don't say skee ball. Don't.
I loved it so much that I did the dumb thing and I never leave that machine because I dumped it all in there. And it was sad. But I love it. And also the next one after that would be Super Street Fighter. So
Nice.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, I remember being at a drive-in a lot when I was younger, and just putting all kinds of quarters into Killer Instinct personally, but that and Rampage for some reason. But
Rampage.
Oh, you said a drive-in movie theater is what you're saying?
Yeah, because they had like go to the lobby, get yourself a snack. Well, where all the snacks where there's like a mini arcade or whatever, and they had all these machines lined up, and I would waste all kinds of time. Sometimes I'd like miss parts of the movies just because I was that into like KI or something, Which is
we still have drive-in movie theaters by me, by the way, not too far in Warwick, New York. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
With that KI, we'd always stand behind the guy that would always play as Orchid, and he'd be KI-1. So he'd do the Orchid thing where she like unzips for a fatality.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got KI Gold on the N64, I was like, I can't do it. There's that because it wasn't in that game in the second one. It was just hilarious watching like people play that game like religiously.
Yeah, I remember the unzip motion. Too funny. Centurion, you're up next, bud. Anything else you'd like to ask Rick?
Yeah, two quick ones. First one, how excited were you when you saw Sekiro take that Game of the Year moniker?
Oh man, that was huge. Even from Fextralife's perspective, because we also called that our Game of the Year, and it means a lot. Even in a personal side to Fextralife, because we love the Souls games so much, and Sekiro, we believe absolutely deserved it. I mean, you have everything with that game. Story, gameplay mechanics, the music, the challenge, everything. And sure, even just that it's single player. I mean, it's just awesome, man. I can't say enough about it because I honestly thought somehow that I'm not even trying to take away from Death Stranding, but I'm like, there's no way. I'm just going to be honest. If you're going to have a game Game of the Year, it needs to have everything, just about. Okay, fine. Maybe it's tough because it's not a multiplayer game, but you need to have really like amazing gameplay to be considered Game of the Year. And Death Stranding did not have amazing gameplay.
I remember when Sekiro came out, we will not mention who, but a couple gaming media journalists were kind of boo-hoo over the difficulty of the game. That made me crack up, and that's why I was totally for Sekiro winning, because of the fact that it's a very niche style of gaming when it comes to something that's supposed to be so difficult that you literally have to put work in to beat it. And it was good to see it take Game of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, now with next gen coming, what are your hopes and expectations on the kind of RPG worlds we're going to get with these new consoles being as powerful as they are, and also trying to cut down on load times?
So my thing would be no, and it still seems like a dream, but 60 FPS with 1,000 people on screen. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, dang.
Or even how about 100? Is that reasonable? 100? You think they can do that?
Now, when you say 100 people on screen, are we talking?
I mean, like, we'll even say, no, I don't want to say that.
When you say 100 people on screen, are we talking NPCs or actual people?
Yeah, I know. We're talking actual people. You know what I mean? Like, imagine
so online persistent world.
You know what I've always wanted to play?
Right now,
it'll be like an MMO Souls type game. An MMO Souls.
Here's a dream of mine, where you have, we'll say, even 50 soldiers on one side and 50 on another, swords, shields, medieval style, and you say go. And you just run at each other, and it's smooth 60 FPS. You get one life and you're dead. I don't know how the lobby would work, and that's it. No messing around, Souls style, I guess you could say.
Be a new battle royale.
There's some epic battles there.
Yeah. Like for honor battle
catapults and
team battle royale, which is a pretty cool idea. You could have like, you could depict. You remember the old middle age fighting and stuff like that. That would be cool. Like you're all on one team. I think
So more like real time strategy, that epicness, like the epicness of real time strategy, but all those, but you're actually controlling each individual character.
I don't want. You know what? I don't like the RTSs because I don't like playing with like teeny little guys. Like, hey, let's go in.
Well, yeah, but just full size. I see what you're saying, but like as epic as the battles as those are, but just at up and close scale, just like you say, you're controlling the characters.
I mean, why not have your archers, right? Your archers, and then you got your guys with your sword. You know what I mean?
Catapults, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe guys with some hammers. You know what I'm saying? Then you got like a king, queen. I don't know, dudes. Just.
I think that would have to be a next gen only. That'd have to be a next gen only because I don't think that the consoles we play on now with the CPU would be able to handle it. So,
right,
I love the idea what you're talking about. But
could you imagine the esports event around that?
Oh,
could you imagine the scale of the esports event around that, Tim Dog? Dude, you'd have some bloodthirsty fans out there.
Well, I think that. Well, to be honest, I think that Stadia has talked about this. They talked about being able to be the multiplayer world being able to be basically native to their server, so everyone is grouped in. So this is actually great ideas, but it's not far off. The developers have thought about this. I just think that it probably would be 5 years down the road because you'd have to get these like the old OG Xbox One S and the S, and even the X, because of the CPU limitations, wouldn't be able to handle that many people on screen, that many effects, that type of stuff, calculations. But for the new ones, the way they're looking, I know that there's been stuff rumored. Even if the new console comes out and it's 10 teraflops for PS5, that's Navi, that's RDNA, that's unbelievable stuff. So yeah, I think that's a tremendous idea. Maybe you should bring that to your Warhorse friends.
I mean, I would just love it because I'm not talking about any goofy, like play to win or pay to win or even any weird stats. I just mean so simple and basic that maybe they could focus on that and just literally like there's no advantage. You have everyone can pick. You have a certain set number of classes, right? So that's the amount. So everyone's going to get the same amount. Not no stupid lightning bolt from the sky comes down on someone. Just straight up medieval action. Let's go.
Damn, you got me excited.
Sounds good.
I want this now. Megatron, DM freaking Phil right now.
Right? I mean, can you imagine though? Like,
hey, that's the right. Hey, the new Xbox Series X, man. Power your dreams. Sounds like a good one to me.
Next time we're in chat with Phil on Xbox Live, I'm gonna make you bring that up.
Definitely.
Great idea.
Well, yeah, guys, you can have the next hit on the other hand.
Yeah, think about it. Even if it was let's say 64 on 64, 128 player pool, you'd have 12 archers, you'd have you'd have
people on the horses. Yes,
sure, cavalry.
Yeah,
sure.
you can make that, and then you just fight until one team wins or one faction wins.
You could even have another variance where you have castle siege, where you have the siege machines and everything trying to break down the castle walls, and the other.
I mean, we can go right into Age of Empires and have that branch off from that franchise. You can more.
Yeah, you know what?
We're brainstorming here.
It's true. It's true. Very versatile, guys.
There we go.
I think we should copyright TXR for this, and we'll have to send this over to Phil. How about that?
I feel like a game developer sitting there somewhere taking notes.
Rick, we'll get you in the party. We'll get you an Xbox Live, and we'll get you in there, and we'll chat. We'll talk it up a little bit there.
Let's do it.
You know what's funny is that we'll probably all forget about this, and then like 5 years down the road, we'll be watching the commercial, be like, medieval on what? Everything we talked about, and we'll be like,
No, they took my idea. Which one was it? Megatron? Was it Megatron?
You want to talk about the biggest idea loss ever? When I was a kid, I figured out how to hook up my Nintendo 64 to the VCR and record myself playing. I was told that was the stupidest thing ever by people. Now look at game streaming.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
yeah, look, exactly. Never underestimate. Some people tell you stupid, they'll steal your idea. That's what they
Dude,
do.
I mean, like, all the way. Now I'm just kicking myself in the ass going, dude, if only I would have just pushed the envelope a little bit.
Yep.
All right. So let's see. Rick, is it okay if we ask you like a few more questions? We obviously don't want to keep you for too long.
Ask me anything.
All right. What
What's
are the winning?
there you go.
Oh, I was gonna make a joke. What's the winning numbers for the lottery?
I was going to ask him what's the specs for Series X.
It's hard because I don't even know how many numbers are in the lottery, so I would probably shortchange you. You know, I don't know.
All right.
The specs? Oh, I don't know, dude. I'm not.
Oh, come on! You know you got a developer kit just like Phil Spencer sitting under your TV.
Ooh, that would be nice. There's be no question, but I do not.
Let's see here.
Swifford PS5 dev
based off of PS5 dev kit, shock.
No.
That's the one.
Yeah, he's got one right now. As a matter of fact, it's vacuuming his house.
No.
I'm sorry.
Nah, we're good.
Hey, now don't make fun of the Johnny 5 console. Come on now.
Wow.
Some of the mock-ups I've seen about it, it's all in good fun, guys, but some of them are really good. So yeah. Obviously, Rick, we're seeing some launch games get announced for the Series X. We got Halo Infinite coming. There are a few others down the line. Obviously, you talked about Hellblade. Which one of these titles are you really looking forward to already? Even though we've only seen a little bit, do any of them get you really excited?
Oh man. I mean, there's the obvious Halo. Anytime you see a new Halo. Sheesh. What else would? I'm trying to think though. Like, besides those few games, I mean, I'll know a lot more when I get to E3. That's for sure. But I think I want to see most of all Halo. What can I say? Because they're going to do anything and everything. Like if Halo ends up being a disappointment, which it's not going to be, but if it did, it would be devastating for Xbox because that's their game. That's their number one game, isn't it?
100%. Yeah.
They're going to show what the new Xbox is capable of in Halo. That's why I'm like, because imagine if they didn't. Like they have to. That is like most of their stake is on Xbox. I'm sorry, but it is. So that's why I'm looking forward to it because we're gonna see what this system is capable of with Halo.
Absolutely. Now it looks like they're going to be opening it up a bit more too with they haven't really talked a lot about gone into detail, but they seem like they're going to be opening it up with exploration rather than more of the corridor shooter that they like, more traditional.
There's no way it's going to stay. There's going to be some game changer in Halo. It has to be. They're going to have to open it up. There's no question. It's going to be opened up. Yes, sir. Has to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, it does. Well, it certainly looks like they're going that route, and it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Okay, so Rick, if you're playing in first-person shooters, are you inverted or are you playing regular?
Never inverted.
You're inverted? You said never?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, gotcha.
No.
I always had to know that from people. I always play inverted. So, but
you play inverted, you're going to hell.
And only acceptable in Metroid Prime.
Oh no!
Well, they say that invert is the right way to play because
it's default on Metroid Prime.
You get used to it. I mean, there's certain games I remember back in the day that you couldn't change, and you get used to it. And I can understand why people get. They say because of the way it works, your mind actually interprets. That's the correct way your mind would interpret it, or something. I think Ybarra was telling me about that, or somebody.
He plays inverted, I know, definitely.
Yeah,
But it's from all of the flight games I used to play on like the Genesis or whatever. I think it was the F-22, and I got used to playing inverted. So as I was flying around, it just kind of stuck with me. So
that makes sense.
Absolutely. Shock, anything else you would like to ask Rick?
No, I think that's the amount of questions.
He wants to know your favorite color, Rick.
Navy blue.
It's green.
What's your all-time favorite console? There you go.
All-time favorite console is probably it's either N64 or GameCube.
Nice.
Good answer.
Good choices.
Because let's see, GoldenEye was Nintendo 64. It might be Gold. No, it's Gold. It's 64 because what's all the game? Was it Ocarina of Time?
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, oh, that's a classic.
It's because of Ocarina of Time and GoldenEye. GoldenEye, probably my favorite game of all time. As crazy as that sounds, even though I'm all about Zelda.
Not Clay Fighters. Come on.
Clay Fighters.
I didn't like Clay Fighters. Ocarina of Time was my game, bro. Like, give me that grappling hook and shooting the arrow, the candles with the arrows. That game was just phenomenal. The puzzles with that game is just awesome.
Christmas, I was at my in-laws' house playing that on the DS.
Oh wow! Oh, that's crazy. Let's see here, Centurion. Anything else you would like to ask Rick?
Oh man, I don't know. I just don't want to keep me. That's a very good question. Other than, how about what is your, you're asked your favorite console. What's your favorite game of all time?
I think like I was saying, I think that would actually be because
you just said it. Yeah, there you go.
GoldenEye, you could play the single player almost forever because they gave you so many options to customize it. Then you could customize the difficulty and all the weapons that you wanted to start with. I can't believe games don't do that.
And now because you were a GoldenEye fan, what'd you think of Perfect Dark?
Oh, I love Perfect Dark. I played a ton of that. I didn't like it for the Xbox at all. I thought it was terrible. But
but it started out on the 64. I remember playing that on the 64.
Exactly. I loved it on the 64. But with GoldenEye, I put the difficulty up. You could put up to 1,000%, and which means you got hit once and you died, or maybe 2 hits, or whatever.
The guy sneezed on you.
Once you got that golden gun, of course, then it was like rocket launchers and that one golden gun, and that was what I remember the most. That just annoyed the hell out of me.
With golden guns because I put all their life up to 1,000% plus their accuracy. I put all the highest accuracy you could of every stat. It was insane. It was like. I couldn't say enough about the facility. I still remember the facility level on the 64.
Oh, yeah.
So that means you had
the days.
So that means you had a lot of friends over playing GoldenEye.
Dude, we had a lot of fun, man. We used to have the remote mines. Or no, the proximity mines. We knew where all the respawn points were, so when someone died, they just keep blowing up, and they'd respawn in the proximity mines. And we were in tears because people were getting ticked off.
Could you imagine GoldenEye if they were actually able to do online multiplayer during those times?
When they did a remake, it was actually, I played. I'm like, I just can't do this anymore. Though it was like one of those things where I don't even want to try and relive it because it was so good. I just let it be, and it was
played with License to Kill, right?
Wait, what's that?
License to Kill meant one shot, or basically instant death.
Oh yes,
if you shoot somebody.
Yep.
Played that. Wow.
Man, I feel like a little kid right now talking about this game.
But then
those great memories, man.
I mean, a lot of the Zelda games would be up there as top games. Dark Souls 1, Ghost Recon games, because those are some of the best games I've ever played. I mean, they just were. I put, Borderlands 1. That's another one.
So then you're mentioning Zelda. So what's it's the first Zelda? What's your favorite Zelda?
Zelda. It might be Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess. It might be Twilight.
All right.
Because of the darker tone. See, I love Breath of the Wild. Don't get me wrong. I put more hours in that than any others, but was really, there's no way I'd give it a 10 because you cannot tell me how you can justify not having a water temple, a fire temple. And you
Mhm.
reach for those stupid shrines. I don't care if there's 1,000 of them. Or better yet, the divine beasts. You know how small those things are, those little places are to go through and find the boss?
Yeah.
Water down. I'm like, get rid of all the water shrines, get rid of all the divine beasts, and let's get the temples back, and then you give me my
Oh my god,
I haven't put in too much time in Breath of the Wild, but I don't like the fact that your weapons break. That annoys me a little bit. Like I just want it to last.
You
I
want
think even the Master Sword, I think it breaks, right? If I'm not mistaken.
and it comes back. You don't have to like buy it again or something. It just goes away for a time. But
Mhm.
Breath of the Wild 2, you mark my words, they will go back to those temples. They better anyway.
See, I'm surprised you said the water temple. I hated the water temple in Ocarina of Time. That was like one of the temples. You're just like, oh god, I don't want to do this
It
right
was
now.
brutal. It was brutal, no doubt. But I
Better
live
than being inside that whale.
It was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I kept
crazy.
getting lost in the forest. Whatever that part was with the forest, and you go right twice and up once. I kept getting lost.
See, when
Good
I was a
games, though,
kid
great
when I was a kid in the forest, I figured out the glitch. If you're going down the dead ends, the circle will stay black, but if you're going down the ones that actually move on to another section of the forest, you'll actually see the glow of the next section starting to come through in the center. I was actually able to see which ones were the dead ends.
Nice.
Mhm. Now, Rick, is there any like upcoming like features or like anything big upcoming for Fextralife in the coming weeks?
I mean, really, we're gonna keep doing what we're doing, and which is just covering games really quite extensively. But we're always talking about evolving. Like would we ever try and do more games outside of the RPG genre? These are some of the things that we sometimes talk about once we get some more people working for us too. So, other than that, I probably don't have much else for you, but we'll definitely be evolving and expanding. So who knows what the limits are going to be? Because as far as we're concerned, there are no limits to what we're capable of doing.
Fantastic. Are
Nice.
you gonna be at E3 this year?
I'm going to be at everything, brother.
Ooh.
So how many E3s have you been at, Rick, by the way? I meant to ask you that.
Let's see. I don't know, 7 maybe 7 or 8.
Wow.
7.
Cool.
Cool. All right, Tim, is there anything else you would like to ask Rick?
No, I think we covered it all. Just wish Rick the best of luck.
Mm-hmm.
And
Thank you.
just nice to see like one of us actually. It's inspiring to see one of us actually, just a fan or just a guy that's podcasting, whatever.
Yep.
Follow his dreams and like you said, go for it and look what can happen. And now you're in the industry, you're going to E3, you're going to Gamescom. Just a great story, and appreciate you coming on. It's always a pleasure to have you.
It's awesome.
Thanks.
Definitely. Just one last question, though. What kind of advice would you give to people who are interested into, getting into like a PR role or something along those lines, just kind of breaking in?
Yeah. Well, first off is, you have, especially if it's PR'd, you got to know how to talk to people. So yeah, you got to know how to look people in the eyes. That's for sure. And just go for it. I mean, you like Twitter, social networking is huge. And Twitter was a great way that I've met a lot of people. But you have to be willing to take chances too. What I mean by that is like when I went when my wife was almost, when I almost missed our 5th child going into labor. I'm not saying everyone needs to go to those extremes, but I went to events when I could go, and I did it because I enjoyed it so much. You have to obviously really enjoy the industry, but you can't sit on your booty. You got to go and make it happen. Just go and make it happen. And what I mean by that is you got to go with your gut. And I've always said going with my gut is me found after God. That's my life. And but I just, when I'm really passionate about something, I go all in. You either plan on doing something 100% or you don't do it. Don't do anything half-heartedly. I mean, it's not going to just, as what Tim said is true. I was in the right place at the right time, but I still had to go after it. So, talk, as far as more practical things, talk to people on Twitter, social media, talk to community managers, or get involved on Discord, or you know what I mean. Like if you're really involved in a particular, or a big fan of a particular game, I've seen people that are just fans of games and get in the industry kind of like I did. They were responding on the forums and Discord, and they got to know the devs. They even tried to help just promote their game, but just because of being a fan. And devs and publishers who are smart, well, especially the developers, when they're smart, and they see someone who they know would be really beneficial for their game or whatever it is, they'll really put that and take that in high regard. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be proactive, man. In this day and age, there's a lot of younger kids after us that think sometimes that they got a college degree, so they're good to go. No, you're not. No, you're not. You got to go get it. I don't care if you have a college degree or not, and not taken away from a college degree, but you're not entitled to anything. You got to go get it.
Some awesome advice. I would love to throw. I would love to throw my hat in the ring and go into the industry side of things. I love my job. It pays well, but I wouldn't mind just being there. Just whether it may be community manager or something. I'm thinking about it. We'll see one day.
What about? Who knows? I mean, you already have some connections. We've had that conversation. You'd have to retire from where you'd have to move. That's the only thing, But I think that there would be a job for, you possibly somewhere. At least get you in there. But it'd be, again, you have to retire, and you're close to retirement, right?
I got a ways to go. I mean, with a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old, I mean, the demand is there, still high for me to keep on doing what I'm doing. It's just everything's all based around, income, and you know how that goes. It's just
I understand.
We'll see. And you're not too far from me, by the way. I'm in New Jersey, so I don't think one of these days I have to come by there and bring the kids and talk some games.
Sure, meet up.
Oh man,
we could do that. We're all tri-state.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I wouldn't mind meeting up somewhere. I have 6 acres where I live. We can go in the trails in my backyard, run around, man. Got a few dogs will chase us, and we'll have some fun,
All right. All right.
If it was too much of a chase, I'd probably fall right after the first step and then get them off me. Get the dogs off me, Rick.
I would love to meet up with you guys, man.
That'll be good. It's always a good time when we get together. So heck yeah, definitely.
All right. See what we can do. All right. And I think on that note, I think we're going to end off the show now. Rick, it's been a real pleasure having you on tonight. It's been a wonderful chat. Where can our audience find you?
Yeah, well, and thank you very much. It's been an honor. The honor is mine. But you can always, if you ever do a search for Rick 5292, you can usually find me anywhere. I'm pretty boring. Even my gamer tag is Rick 5292. I mean, on Twitter it says Pretty Rick, but it's still Rick 5292. So that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Yeah, we'd certainly love to have you on again at some point. It's been a real pleasure, like we're saying. And again, Happy New Year, Rick. Happy upcoming New Year.
Same to you guys.
All right. And to everyone listening in, definitely head over to Fextralife and check out the wonderful guides and walkthroughs there. They have some really wonderful write-ups. Fextralife is definitely on the up and coming. And yeah, thanks to everybody that tuned in live to the show. If you happen to enjoy today's content, then drop a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Now on to our outros. Megatron, awesome time tonight, my friend. Where can everybody find you?
On as always, Megatron_1975 on Twitter, and on Xbox Live it's just Megatron1.
Okay.
That's it. That's what I'll be.
All right, good stuff. Tim Dog, hey, great show tonight from the Xbox Warrior. Where can people follow you at?
xCloud, Tim Dog, on Twitter. You guys know where I am. So just stop by. Just most of all, just everyone have a happy, healthy New Year. No drinking and driving. Take an Uber. If you're gonna do any kind of partying, take an Uber. And thanks for all the fans for showing up. Thank you, Rick. have a happy New Year, and
Thank you. You're welcome.
tune in next week.
Yeah, definitely. Shock. Hey, good stuff tonight. Where can everybody follow you at, bud?
Yeah, at Shock Nero on Twitter. Easy Shock on Xbox Live. And yeah, I think I'm going to have to get to that Deliverance, make it my next backlog.
Sweet.
Nice.
Oh, I highly suggest it. Actually, I need to get back into it too. What am I talking about? Kicking myself. I still need to finish that sucker, but definitely worth it, guys. Everybody in the chat, check out Kingdom Come Deliverance. Centurion, hey, love the input tonight, bud. Where can everybody follow your content?
As always, you guys can find me Xbox Live, Twitter, and YouTube at Centurion1307. I do Sunday nights here with you guys on TXR. I do Saltiest Gaming Podcast on Thursdays and the Shop Podcast with PTK Blam and the guys on Saturday. And man, it's been a great honor to meet you, Rick. It's been awesome. Kind of lit a fire under my ass on a couple projects, but just listening to your speech. So definitely, it's been a great honor just talking with you.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Seriously.
Nice. Well, we appreciate hearing that, Rick, and thanks for watching, everyone. Speaking for the show panel, we hope everyone has a happy New Year. Keep safe, as Tim was saying. Don't drink and drive. Just be responsible. But have a great one, guys. We'll see you in the new year. Take it easy, folks.
It's awesome. Fextralife. Happy New Year, everyone. 2020.
Yeah.
Happy New